Mira adjusted the controls of her passenger transport as the ship glided smoothly through the outer rim of the Vega system. The stars streaked past the cockpit windows, creating long ribbons of light that always reminded her of the vastness of space. Today seemed like any other, with routine passengers on board, each of them looking forward to reaching their destinations. Mira had flown this route many times. She knew the dangers of space travel, yet she loved her job. There was something about the feeling of responsibility for so many lives that made her heart beat faster. The ship carried 50 passengers, including families, scientists, and traders. Mira had greeted them earlier with a warm smile and a reassuring voice. She liked to walk the cabin before taking off, checking that everyone felt safe. Children waved at her when she passed. It was a small gesture, but it made the journey more human, even in a craft that moved faster than light. As the ship entered the asteroid belt near the Vega system, Mira's instrument suddenly beeped with a series of urgent warnings. Red lights flashed across the dashboard, and a loud alarm echoed in the cockpit. Mira's hands moved quickly over the controls. "What is it now?" she muttered. The ship had been struck by a small meteor that had broken through the outer shields. It was not large, but it had caused significant damage to the navigation system. The life support system had also begun to fail in the rear compartments. Mira's heart raced as she assessed the situation. The ship could continue to drift, but that would be dangerous. Without immediate action, the damage could escalate, and the passengers could be in serious danger. She reached for the intercom. "This is Captain Mira. Everyone please remain calm. We have a technical problem, but I will take care of it. Keep your seatbelts fastened, and we will be safe shortly." Her voice was steady, but inside she felt the weight of the responsibility. Mira knew the nearest space station could provide emergency docking, but the station's protocol was strict. Unauthorized landings were forbidden. Any ship attempting to dock without clearance could be met with defense systems, potentially putting her passengers at risk from her own desperate choice. She had seconds to decide. The ship shuddered as another fragment from the meteor storm struck the hull. Sparks flew, and the navigation console flickered wildly. Mira's heart pounded. She looked at the small screens that displayed the station's coordinates. There was a narrow landing bay open, barely large enough for her ship. If she tried to dock without authorization, there would be consequences. If she did nothing, lives could be lost. Mira made a quick calculation. Her experience told her she could make the landing. She had trained for emergencies like this, though never under such pressure. She took a deep breath, focusing all her attention on the task ahead. "Passengers first," she whispered to herself. She engaged the emergency landing sequence, carefully maneuvering the ship toward the station. Every movement had to be precise. Too fast, and the ship could crash. Too slow, and life support might fail completely. Mira adjusted the thrusters, steering through the debris of the asteroid field with skill and determination. In the cabin, passengers felt the tension. Children clutched their parents' hands. Scientists checked their devices nervously, unsure if they could help. Mira's calm voice over the intercom was the only thing holding panic at bay. "We are making an emergency landing. Please stay calm. We will be safe soon." The station's sensors detected the ship entering the landing corridor. Red warning lights flashed across their control panels. Security officers and station authorities began preparations, ready to respond to an unauthorized entry. The ship was moving too fast for normal clearance. But Mira had no other choice. Inside the cockpit, Mira's hands moved with precision. She manipulated the controls, keeping the ship steady as it descended toward the landing bay. Sparks from the damaged systems flew across the console, and alarms sounded relentlessly. Mira's mind worked faster than ever. Every decision had consequences. Every movement could save or endanger lives. A sudden jolt shook the ship as another fragment struck. Mira fought to keep control. Her passengers were counting on her, and she could not let them down. Sweat ran down her face, but she ignored the discomfort. Training, instinct, and courage guided her hands. She felt the ship respond to her commands, slowly moving closer to the landing platform. The station's defense systems activated, scanning for potential threats. Mira could see the automated turrets activating. If she made a wrong move, they might fire on the ship. She adjusted the ship's shields, diverting power to reinforce the hull and protect the passengers. Every second was critical. In the cabin, passengers held their breath. Some prayed silently. Some whispered encouragement to each other. Mira's actions had created a tense yet focused environment. The people trusted her. Even though they did not fully understand the danger outside their windows, Mira spoke calmly over the intercom. "We are almost there. I need everyone to remain calm and seated. Our journey is almost safe." Her voice carried authority and reassurance. It was the kind of voice that could calm even the most fearful heart. Finally, the ship approached the landing bay. Mira adjusted the thrusters, aligning perfectly with the docking platform. Sparks flew as the damaged landing gear made contact. She held her breath, guiding the ship down slowly. With a final adjustment, the ship touched the platform safely. The alarms in the cockpit and cabin ceased. The ship was stable. Passengers cheered softly, relief washing over them. Mira exhaled deeply, allowing herself a moment of satisfaction. She had done it. She had saved lives. But her relief was short-lived. The station's authorities were approaching, and they were not pleased with her unauthorized entry. As the docking clamps engaged, Mira prepared herself to face the consequences. She knew she had taken a risk, but the lives of her passengers had come first. Her decision had been bold, perhaps reckless, but necessary. She had acted not for glory or recognition, but because it was the right thing to do. Security officers boarded the ship, their expressions stern. Mira stepped forward to meet them, hands raised slightly in a gesture of respect. "I know I violated protocol," she said calmly, "but I had no other choice. The ship was damaged, and the passengers' lives were at risk. I could not wait for authorization." The officers exchanged glances. They were trained to follow rules strictly, but they could not ignore the evidence of Mira's actions. The passengers themselves stepped forward, speaking on her behalf. They described how Mira had acted decisively, keeping them safe when disaster struck. Mira remained composed, explaining every action she had taken. She did not boast or exaggerate. She simply stated the facts. The security officers listened, some nodding in acknowledgement. They could see her courage, her skill, and her unwavering focus under pressure. Meanwhile, the station's sensors continued to analyze the ship. They detected anomalies in the power distribution and unusual readings in the navigation system. Mira knew that her ship's experimental systems were revealing themselves. She had always hoped they would remain unnoticed. But the emergency had triggered full activation. The officers looked at the readings, their curiosity growing. Mira did not offer explanations beyond the immediate emergency. She focused on the safety of her passengers, not the technical details of her enhancements. Her priority had always been the people under her care, and she would not allow distraction to compromise their well-being. As the investigation began, Mira walked through the cabin, checking on her passengers. Children smiled at her, grateful for her calm guidance. Adults expressed their relief and admiration. Mira felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing she had done what was necessary. She had faced danger head-on, relying on her skills, training, judgment. In the control room of the station, the authorities debated their next steps. Mira had saved lives, yet she had broken strict protocols. Her actions challenged the rules they had followed for decades. Could they punish someone who had acted so heroically? Could they ignore the fact that her courage had prevented a tragedy? Mira did not wait for their decision. She focused on repairing minor systems on her ship, ensuring that the passengers were comfortable and safe. She moved with calm efficiency, her mind clear despite the recent chaos. She had proven, at least to herself, that human skill, judgment, and courage could overcome even the most dangerous situations. As the passengers settled, Mira took a moment to gaze at the stars. The Vega system stretched before her, vast and endless. She had risked everything for these people, and she had succeeded. The memory of the emergency would remain with her, a reminder of what it meant to be human, to act with courage, to make choices that matter, and to protect others at any cost. The station authorities would soon reveal their judgment. The military forces might question her actions. The censors would continue to analyze the unusual systems in her ship. But for now, Mira allowed herself a small moment of triumph. She had acted decisively, saved lives, faced danger without hesitation. In that quiet moment, she knew that humanity had something unique to offer. Technology could enhance skills, but it was courage, decision-making, and care for others that defined real heroes. Mira smiled softly. The journey ahead would not be easy, but she had proven her worth. The station hummed with activity as Mira's ship rested in the emergency docking bay. The clamps held her craft firmly, but the atmosphere was tense. Security officers moved quickly, scanning the area and ensuring no immediate threats remained. Officials from the station administration had gathered, their faces set in strict expressions. They did not like unauthorized landings, yet the sight of the passengers unharmed and relieved complicated their judgment. Mira remained in the cockpit, her hands resting lightly on the controls. She knew the authorities would come to question her soon. Her heart still raced, but her mind was clear. She had acted to save lives. No regulation could undo the fact that every passenger was safe. A group of station officers entered the docking bay. Led by Commander Roll, a stern figure known for enforcing station protocol without compromise. Rawl's sharp eyes swept over Myra's ship and the passengers before focusing on her. "Captain Myra," he said firmly, his voice echoing in the bay. "You have violated station regulations by entering without authorization. You will explain your actions immediately." Myra nodded calmly. "Commander, I understand the rules, but there was no time to request clearance. A meteor storm damaged my ship, and the life support systems were failing. I had no choice if I wanted to save the passengers." Rawl's gaze remained fixed on her. "You had options, Captain? Emergency procedures exist for this exact situation. You could have waited for clearance or attempted a remote stabilization. Instead, you risked the lives of everyone on this station by entering without permission." The passengers began to murmur, some expressing gratitude for Mira's quick thinking. One young woman stepped forward, her voice clear and steady. "Commander, Captain Mira saved our lives. If she had waited for authorization, we might not be here. She did what any responsible captain would do." Another passenger, an elderly man with silver hair, added, "We saw how she handled the ship during the storm. Her calm and skill kept us safe. We are grateful for her courage." Rawl's eyes narrowed. He was trained to consider facts, not emotions, yet the evidence was undeniable. Mira had acted decisively and successfully, preventing a disaster that could have killed dozens. He motioned for his officers to stand down slightly, though his expression remained strict. "Captain Mira, your actions may have saved lives," Rawl said slowly, "but you still must explain the unusual readings detected on your ship. Our sensors indicate anomalies in the power distribution and navigation systems. Explain yourself fully." Mira's hands rested lightly on the console as she spoke. "Commander, the anomalies are part of experimental systems designed to assist human reflexes and decision-making under extreme stress. They are not illegal, and they do not harm anyone. They are activated only in emergencies to help pilots make precise and safe decisions." Rawl's eyebrows rose. "Experimental systems? You did not declare these before docking? You could have caused a security breach or a malfunction." "I did not have time to declare them," Mira replied. "The storm disabled the main systems. If I had waited, the passengers would have been in danger. The technology is meant to save lives, not violate rules. I used it only to protect people under my care." Rawl studied her closely. There was a calm honesty in her eyes that made him pause. Mira was not exaggerating. The sensors confirmed her story, and the passengers' accounts aligned perfectly with the data. The anomaly readings were consistent with her ship's movements and reactions during the emergency. Station officials murmured among themselves. They were caught between enforcing protocol and recognizing an undeniable hero. One official, a woman named Leora, spoke up. "Commander Roll, perhaps we should consider the context. The captain acted decisively and saved lives. Punishing her might discourage brave actions in the future." Rawl nodded slowly. "Context is important, but so is protocol. We cannot allow a precedent where rules are ignored without consequence. Captain Mira, you will remain on the station for investigation until we determine the appropriate course of action. Mira accepted this calmly. She had expected some form of restriction. I understand, Commander. I will cooperate fully with the investigation. The passengers were escorted to a secure area while security officers began a thorough inspection of the ship. Mira followed closely, answering questions and explaining procedures. Despite the tension, she remained composed. Every gesture, every word, reflected her calm and disciplined nature. As the inspection continued, the sensors began to detect something unexpected. The ship's experimental systems were more advanced than even Mira had anticipated. The emergency protocols had activated fully during the meteor storm, revealing capabilities that allowed her to anticipate dangerous trajectories and react with extreme precision. One of the station engineers, a young man named Kiro, leaned over a console, scanning the data. Commander, the readings are unusual. The systems are interacting with the pilot's neural interface. The reactions are faster than any human alone could achieve. It is almost as if the ship is predicting her intentions. Rawl's expression darkened slightly. This is not standard technology. Captain Mira, explain the full extent of these systems. Are they safe? Have they been tested on anyone else? They are safe, Commander, Mira replied firmly. They have been tested in controlled environments. They enhance human reflexes and decision-making during extreme emergencies. That is all. No one else has been subjected to them without consent. I use them only to ensure the safety of my passengers. The engineers and officers exchanged glances. This was remarkable technology, something far beyond what most stations had access to. The potential benefits were enormous, but so were the risks, if misused. Myra's secrecy was understandable, yet it had caused concern among the authorities. One officer, a tall man named Terran, asked, Captain, do you have authorization from the Governing Council to operate these systems in space travel? No, Mira admitted. Authorization is only granted for testing in isolated environments. These systems were intended for emergencies. I did not consider the legal status in the moment. My priority was saving lives. Rawl stepped forward, his arms crossed. Captain Mira, you have acted with extraordinary courage. You have demonstrated skill and human potential that is rare. But rules exist for a reason. We must decide how to balance recognition of your bravery with enforcement of regulations. Mira nodded, understanding the challenge. Commander, I accept whatever decision you make. My actions were not intended to challenge authority. They were intended to protect lives. I hope that can be understood. As the conversation continued, the passengers returned to the ship, reassured by the officers that they were safe. Many of them offered their own support for Myra. Children waved at her from the cabin windows. Adults nodded in gratitude. Mira felt a quiet warmth knowing that her efforts had been noticed. Even if the authorities were conflicted, meanwhile, sensors continued to scan the ship. The emergency systems remained active, quietly analyzing every movement. Myra knew that her secret was now partially revealed. The authorities understood the existence of her enhanced systems. Though they had not yet grasped the full extent of their capabilities, Roll walked slowly around the ship, his mind working through the implications. Humans had always adapted to challenges, but Mira's actions demonstrated something extraordinary. Her ability to combine courage, skill, and advanced technology had prevented disaster. It was a reminder that even in a universe of strict rules and advanced systems, human ingenuity could shine. Kiro. The engineer leaned closer to Rawl. Commander, this is not just about rules. Captain Myra's actions show the potential for humans to exceed normal limits. With proper oversight, these systems could save countless lives in the future. Rawl nodded, still serious. I understand, Kiro, but we must ensure that regulations are respected. We cannot allow emergency technology to be used without accountability. Captain Myra must remain under observation until the Council decides the appropriate course of action. Myra accepted this without argument. She had acted as she believed was right. Now it was up to others to determine the consequences. She moved calmly through the ship, checking that everything was in order. Her passengers were safe, systems were stable, and her secret was partially hidden. In the quiet moments, Mira reflected on the events of the day. The meteor storm had been unexpected, but her preparation and skill had turned a potential disaster into a successful emergency landing. The tension with the authorities was unavoidable, but she remained confident that the truth of her intentions would be recognized. Commander Roll approached Mira once more. "Captain, I will be honest. Your actions are unprecedented. The Council may take time to evaluate this situation. I cannot promise a favorable outcome, but I can promise a fair investigation." Mira nodded. "That is all I ask, Commander. Fairness and understanding of my intentions. I did what I had to do. I will continue to cooperate fully." As night fell over the station, the stars outside shimmered against the darkness of space. Myra stood by the cockpit window, watching the distant planets rotate slowly in their orbits. She felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. She had faced danger, made difficult choices, and saved lives. Whatever the authorities decided, she knew she had acted with courage and integrity. The station remained tense in the hours following Mira's emergency landing. Officials debated the best course of action while passengers quietly returned to their quarters, relieved to be safe. Myra stayed near her ship, monitoring the systems and making small repairs. Even in the calm after the storm, she remained alert. Space was unpredictable, and she could not afford to relax completely. Suddenly, the station's alert system sounded a new warning. Lights flashed across the docking bay as a message appeared on the main screen. A military fighter, a sleek F-22 class vessel, was approaching at high speed. Its signature was unmistakable. It belonged to Commander Rawl's superior, General Voss, known for strict enforcement of interstellar regulations. The arrival of the fighter sent a wave of tension through the station. Mira straightened, her hands resting lightly on the console. She had expected scrutiny, but the arrival of a military-grade ship meant her actions had attracted serious attention. The F-22 hovered outside the docking bay, its weapons systems active, but not threatening. A voice came through the station's communication system, clear and commanding. "Captain Mira, this is General Voss. You are to report immediately for a full inspection. Your ship's systems have triggered alerts at the highest levels. We are aware of your unauthorized landing. You will comply fully." Mira took a deep breath. She knew the inspection would be thorough. She also knew that her secret, the experimental system that enhanced her reflexes and decision-making, could now be revealed. There was no avoiding it. She nodded to the station officers and prepared to follow protocol. The docking bay doors opened as the F-22 landed gracefully nearby. General Voss stepped out, a tall figure in a sharp uniform, his eyes scanning the area with calculated precision. He approached Myra with a purposeful stride, his presence commanding attention. "Captain Myra," Voss said, his tone firm but not unkind. "Your actions have saved lives. That is commendable. However, the systems on your ship are highly unusual. We need full disclosure. Explain exactly what capabilities your ship possesses." Mira's fingers rested lightly on the console. She had hoped to keep the system's full potential hidden, but the presence of a high-ranking official meant honesty was necessary. "General, the systems are experimental. They are designed to enhance human reflexes and decision-making in extreme emergencies. They are not weapons, and they have not been used in combat. They were activated automatically during the meteor storm to help me protect the passengers." Voss raised an eyebrow. "Enhanced reflexes? Explain exactly what that means. Are we talking about artificial intelligence controlling the ship, or is the pilot augmented in some way?" "The system works with the pilot's neural interface," Mira explained. "It monitors the environment and predicts potential hazards, suggesting optimal responses. The pilot remains fully in control. The system is designed to assist, not override decisions. Its purpose is to save lives in critical situations." Voss nodded slowly, studying her carefully. "This is highly advanced technology. We have never seen a system that interacts directly with a human pilot in this way. Captain, your actions demonstrate extraordinary skill." But this system raises questions about regulation, safety, and the limits of human-machine interaction. Myra remained calm. General, the system is safe. I have tested it extensively in simulations. It responds only in emergencies and requires the pilot's full engagement. It is not autonomous beyond assisting in life-saving maneuvers. Voss glanced at the station engineers who were reviewing the ship's logs. The data confirms your story. The ship's actions during the storm were precise and beyond what a human pilot could achieve alone. The system did not cause harm and ensured all passengers remained safe. One of the engineers, Kiro, spoke up. General, this system is remarkable. It could redefine how humans interact with spacecraft. Captain Mira demonstrated the potential for human decision-making enhanced by technology. The ship reacted in perfect synchronization with her instincts. Voss's expression remained serious. I understand its potential. However, the existence of such a system raises concerns. Who authorized its use? What are the risks if it is misused? Captain Mira, you acted without clearance. While your actions saved lives, they also bypassed safety regulations. Mira nodded respectfully. General, I understand the concerns. I acted to save lives in an emergency. My priority was the passengers, not the rules. I take full responsibility for my actions. The system is intended for emergencies only and is not designed for any other purpose. Voss studied her closely. He could see the honesty in her eyes, the calm determination, and the courage that had guided her through the storm. He knew the system was extraordinary, but he also understood that human skill had made the difference. Mira had been able to interpret the system's guidance, make quick decisions, and act decisively under extreme pressure. Captain Mira, Voss said finally, your actions demonstrate the value of human initiative and courage. The system enhanced your abilities, but it did not replace your judgment. You have shown that humans, when equipped with the right tools and training, can accomplish remarkable things. Mira felt a quiet sense of relief. She had hoped that her intentions would be recognized. Thank you, General. I only wanted to protect the passengers. I did not seek recognition or reward.
House.
Nodded. Acknowledgement is not your concern here. The Council will review the situation, and they will decide how this technology can be used in the future. Your actions will serve as an example of human potential in critical situations. As the inspection continued, Voss walked around the ship, observing the consoles, displays, and emergency systems. Mira explained the functions of the ship's core systems, the neural interface, and the predictive algorithms. Voss listened carefully, occasionally asking questions to clarify the capabilities and limitations. Kiro pointed to a display showing the ship's performance during the meteor storm. General, notice the timing of maneuvers and the precision of each adjustment. The system calculated trajectories faster than any human could alone, but Mira's decisions guided the outcome. It was a perfect collaboration between human and technology. Voss nodded in appreciation. Indeed. This is a testament to what humans can achieve when ingenuity, courage, and advanced technology work together. Captain Mira, you have not only saved lives but also demonstrated the extraordinary potential of humanity. Mira felt a quiet pride, but she remained humble. General, I hope this can inspire others to use technology responsibly and act with courage when it matters most. That is all I wish for. Voss studied her, then turned to the engineers. Document everything. The system's performance, the pilot's decisions, and the emergency response. This will be valuable for future training and research. Captain Mira, you will remain under observation until the Council reviews the report. But your cooperation and bravery will be recognized. Mira nodded. She understood the process and accepted the responsibility. The revelation of her secret system was not something she had planned, but it had happened. She had acted with integrity. And now others understood the potential of human skill, enhanced by technology. As the hours passed, Myra returned to the cockpit, watching the stars outside. The F-22 had landed nearby, and General Voss remained on the station, overseeing the inspection. The tension had eased slightly, replaced by curiosity and respect. Mira knew that her actions had sparked interest at the highest levels, and she hoped it would lead to progress, not fear. The passengers, now safely settled, expressed their gratitude again. Families smiled at her, children waved from the windows, and adults spoke of her courage. Mira felt a quiet warmth. She had saved lives, faced scrutiny, revealed a secret that could change the future of space travel. The F-22's pilot, Lieutenant Rin, approached her. "Captain Mira, your actions are impressive. I have never seen a ship respond with such precision under emergency conditions. Your coordination with the system was remarkable." "Thank you, Lieutenant," Mira replied. "The system is only as good as the pilot. It guides, but humans must decide. That is the difference." Rin nodded thoughtfully. "Indeed, your courage and skill made all the difference. The Council will likely want to study this further, but your example will inspire others." Mira smiled. She felt a sense of hope. The revelation of her secret could lead to new possibilities for human advancement, but only if it was used responsibly. She had acted with integrity and care, and now the world would see what humans could achieve when courage, skill, and technology worked together. As night fell over the station, Mira returned to her ship's cockpit, watching the distant stars. She reflected on the events of the day. The meteor storm, the emergency landing, the arrival of the F-22, and the inspection had tested her in ways she had never imagined. She had faced danger, made difficult decisions, and revealed a secret that showcased human potential. Mira knew that challenges would continue to come. Space was vast and unpredictable, and technology could bring both opportunity and risk. But she also knew that humans had a unique ability to adapt, to make courageous decisions, and to protect others in critical moments. And somewhere deep within the ship, the experimental systems hummed quietly, ready to assist whenever needed. Mira's secret had been revealed, but her actions had proven something greater. The station conference room was large and brightly lit. Officials, engineers, and military personnel filled the space, their expressions serious. Commander Roll, General Voss, and Mira were present, along with representatives from the Passenger Transport Authority. The atmosphere was tense, but curiosity lingered in the room. The revelation of Mira's experimental systems had created a mixture of admiration and concern. General Voss stood at the head of the table, his voice calm but commanding. "We are here to review the events of the emergency landing and the performance of Captain Mira's ship. We must consider both the actions taken and the implications for future operations. Captain Mira, please recount the sequence of events as you acted during the meteor storm." Mira nodded and began to speak. "I was flying the passenger transport through the Vega system when a meteor storm struck unexpectedly. My ship sustained damage to the navigation and life support systems. The passengers were at risk. I scanned for nearby docking options and found a station with a free landing bay. Authorization would have taken too long, and the ship could not maintain stability for the delay. I made the decision to land immediately to ensure the safety of all passengers." She paused, making sure every word was clear. "The ship's experimental system assisted in predicting hazards and suggesting optimal maneuvers. It did not control the ship or override my decisions. Every action was made by me in real time based on the information provided. The system only enhanced my ability to act quickly and precisely." Several officials exchanged glances. One of them, a woman named Leora, spoke first. "Captain Mira, your actions were brave, but you broke station regulations. Unauthorized landings are considered a serious offense. How can we justify ignoring this rule, even in an emergency?" Mira remained calm. "Rules exist to maintain order and safety. In this case, following protocol would have put lives at risk. I acted in the spirit of the rules, prioritizing the safety of passengers above formal procedure. I take full responsibility for bypassing authorization, but I could not let lives be lost waiting for clearance." Commander Roll spoke next. "Captain, your actions demonstrate the potential of human decision-making under extreme pressure. However, we cannot simply excuse violations of protocol. There must be accountability. How do we balance recognition of your heroism with the enforcement of rules?" A young engineer, Kiro, leaned forward. Commander, the rules are important, but Captain Mira's actions show what humans can achieve when given the right tools. The system enhanced her reflexes and allowed her to perform actions that no human alone could accomplish. We should consider this an example of human ingenuity rather than just a violation. General Voss nodded thoughtfully. I agree that her actions reveal extraordinary potential. Humans can adapt to situations machines cannot fully predict. The system allowed Captain Mira to maximize her abilities in a critical situation. The question now is how to recognize her success while addressing the protocol violation. An older official named Taryn added, "We must also consider the precedent. If one captain can bypass rules in an emergency, what stops others from taking similar actions recklessly? There must be a framework to allow flexibility without undermining authority." And Mira listened carefully. She understood the concerns. I agree, Taryn. There should be guidelines to manage emergencies effectively. The system is intended only for critical situations, and pilots must still act responsibly. My actions were not reckless. They were calculated based on training, judgment, and the immediate needs of the passengers. Leora nodded slowly. Captain Mira, your argument is persuasive. The Council will likely recognize the lives you saved. We also see the potential for this system to improve human performance in space operations. Still, we must determine safeguards to prevent misuse. Voss interjected. Safeguards are essential. The technology is advanced, and while it can save lives, it also represents a new frontier. Human pilots with enhanced capabilities may react faster than protocols allow. We must define limits, oversight, and ethical use. Mira remained composed. General, I understand. The system is not autonomous. It requires a trained pilot to interpret its guidance. It enhances human abilities, but does not replace judgment or responsibility. Safeguards can be integrated to ensure it is used appropriately. Kiro gestured to the data displayed on the large screen. Look at the maneuvers performed during the storm. Every decision, every adjustment, was calculated in milliseconds. Without Captain Mira's skill, the system alone could not have saved the passengers. This is a perfect example of human and technology working together. Aurel spoke thoughtfully. Indeed, Captain Mira's actions illustrate something fundamental. Rules are necessary, but humans must sometimes exercise judgment beyond strict protocols. The combination of skill, courage, and technology can achieve extraordinary outcomes. We cannot ignore this example when shaping future operations. Taryn nodded. Perhaps we need a flexible framework for emergencies. Pilots could be authorized to override certain protocols under strict supervision and documentation. This would recognize human initiative while maintaining safety. Voss turned to Mira. Captain, your actions will be used as a case study for developing these guidelines. Your heroism will be recognized officially. At the same time, the Council will review the circumstances of your unauthorized landing to determine how such situations should be handled in the future. Mira felt a sense of relief. Her actions had been risky, and she had anticipated criticism. The Council and officials were showing understanding. Thank you, General. My priority was saving lives. I am willing to cooperate fully with any review or training programs to ensure these technologies and procedures are used responsibly. Leora spoke again. Captain Mira, your conduct demonstrates the values we hope to cultivate in all human pilots: courage, responsibility, and ingenuity. Your decision-making during the emergency will serve as a model for others. We must now focus on creating guidelines that allow humans to act decisively in critical situations without violating essential safety standards. Voss nodded. Agreed. The future of space travel relies on human skill, judgment, and the integration of advanced technologies. Captain Mira has shown that humans are capable of extraordinary achievements when these elements work together. The Council continued their discussion, exploring ways to incorporate Mira's example into training programs and safety protocols. Mira remained attentive, providing clarification when needed. The focus shifted from punishment to learning, and the room was filled with energy and curiosity. Kiro leaned toward Roll quietly. Commander, the potential here is remarkable. This is the kind of advancement that can redefine human capability in space. Captain Mira's courage and skill show what humans can achieve when trusted with responsibility. Raul nodded. I see it too, Kiro. It is a reminder that humans are not limited by rigid procedures alone. Judgment, initiative, and moral courage are just as important. Mira's actions illustrate the essence of human potential. Meanwhile, Mira walked through the conference room, observing the data streams and charts. She reflected on the events of the past day. The meteor storm, the emergency landing, and the arrival of the F-22 had tested her in every possible way. She had faced danger, made difficult decisions, and revealed a secret technology that enhanced her abilities. Her mind turned to the passengers, the people she had saved. Families, children, and travelers had trusted her with their lives, and she had acted decisively. The combination of human courage, skill, and the assistance of technology had made all the difference. She realized that human potential was not just about individual talent, but about the ability to collaborate with tools, adapt to unforeseen challenges, and act with moral responsibility. General Voss concluded the session. Captain Mira, the Council will review the findings and determine official recognition. The discussion here will guide the creation of protocols for emergency use of advanced technologies. Your actions will influence future generations of pilots and space travelers. You have demonstrated the extraordinary potential of humans to rise above challenges, act decisively, and protect others. Mira bowed her head slightly in acknowledgement. Thank you, General. I hope my experience can help others prepare for emergencies and understand the importance of courage and responsibility. As the Council adjourned, Mira returned to her ship. The passengers were safe and comfortable, and the systems were fully operational. She walked through the cabin, checking on them and offering reassurances. Children waved at her, and adults smiled, expressing their gratitude again. Mira felt a quiet warmth, knowing that her efforts had made a difference. Commander. Raul approached her as she completed her rounds. Captain, the Council may still question details, but you have shown the highest standards of human judgment. Your actions, combined with the system, illustrate that humans can overcome challenges in ways machines alone cannot. You should take pride in what you have accomplished. Mira nodded. Thank you, Commander. I only acted to protect the passengers. I am glad that my actions can serve as an example for the future. Kiro approached as well. Captain, I think the technology you demonstrated can revolutionize training and emergency response. Your courage and skill will be remembered. The station was quieter than usual as Mira prepared for the final review of her actions. The Council had gathered to evaluate the emergency landing, the performance of her ship, and the implications of her experimental system. Officials, engineers, and military personnel filled the Council chamber, their expressions a mixture of curiosity, respect, and seriousness. Mira stood calmly, her posture straight, her eyes steady. She had faced danger, scrutiny, and revelation, but she remained focused. General Voss opened the session. We are here to review the events surrounding the emergency landing of Captain Mira's passenger transport. We will consider her actions, the performance of her ship, and the broader implications for human operations in space. Captain Mira, you will have the opportunity to address the Council directly. Mira nodded. She took a deep breath before speaking. Members of the Council, I was faced with a situation that required immediate action. A meteor storm damaged the ship's navigation and life support systems. Waiting for clearance to land could have put the passengers in mortal danger. I chose to land immediately to ensure their safety. The ship's experimental system assisted me in making precise decisions, but every choice was my responsibility. A murmur spread through the chamber. The Council members whispered among themselves. Impressed by her calm delivery and the clarity of her explanation, Leora, one of the senior officials, spoke first. Captain Mira, your actions were brave and undoubtedly saved lives. You bypassed protocol, which we cannot ignore, but we also cannot disregard the extraordinary circumstances and the results. You acted decisively, responsibly, and with complete dedication to your passengers. Taryn, another Council member, added, the data confirms what Captain Mira has described. The ship responded to hazards with incredible precision, but it required her skill, judgment, and calm decision-making. This is not just technology performing tasks. This is a human pilot working with an advanced system to save lives. Commander Roll, who had been observing quietly, stepped forward. Council members, Captain Mira's actions highlight something fundamental. Humans are capable of extraordinary decisions when faced with critical situations. The system enhanced her abilities, but the courage, foresight, and calm under pressure came from her alone. This is a clear example of human potential in extreme conditions. Mira listened as the council debated. She knew the discussion would weigh the violation of rules against the lives saved and the demonstration of advanced human capability. She remained composed, trusting that honesty and clarity would guide the outcome. General Voss spoke again. Captain Mira, you demonstrated both courage and skill. You acted decisively, saved lives, and showed the value of integrating human judgment with advanced systems. While we must address the procedural violation, we cannot ignore the lessons your actions provide for the future of space travel. The room fell silent as the council considered their decision. After a few moments, Leora spoke. We have reached a conclusion. Captain Mira, your actions will be formally recognized. You have shown exceptional bravery and skill, saving the lives of all passengers aboard your ship. Your conduct sets a new standard for human pilots and demonstrates the extraordinary potential of humans working alongside advanced technology. Mira felt a wave of relief and gratitude. She had faced scrutiny and risked criticism, but her actions were understood and valued. She bowed her head slightly in respect. Thank you, members of the council. My priority was the passengers, and I am glad my actions have contributed to understanding human potential. Voss continued. The council also recognizes the need for clear guidelines for future emergencies. Captain Meyer's example will inform new protocols, allowing pilots to act decisively under extreme circumstances while maintaining safety standards. Your experience will shape training, research, and operational procedures for years to come. Kiro, the young engineer who had observed the ship's systems, smiled. This is a remarkable moment. The system and Captain Meyer's actions together demonstrate what humans can achieve when technology enhances, but does not replace human judgment. Mira nodded. Exactly. Technology is a tool, but courage, skill, and responsibility are human qualities. The combination can overcome challenges that neither could achieve alone. The council agreed to establish a formal recognition ceremony. Mira would receive commendations, and her ship's performance would be used as a case study for training pilots throughout the sector. Her actions would inspire not only the passengers she had saved, but also every human pilot who faced the vast and unpredictable dangers of space. After the council session, Mira returned to her ship to check on the passengers. Families were gathering in the main cabin, sharing stories and expressing gratitude. Children ran up to her, their faces bright with relief and admiration. Adults shook her hand and offered smiles of appreciation. Mira felt a quiet warmth knowing that her efforts had made a difference in their lives. One young girl, no older than 10, looked up at Mira with wide eyes. Captain, you saved us. How did you do it? Mira knelt to meet her gaze. I stayed calm, followed the information my ship gave me, and made careful choices to keep everyone safe. Courage and focus are important, and teamwork with technology helped us all succeed. The girl nodded seriously. I want to be brave like you. Mira smiled gently. You already are. Bravery is about caring for others and doing your best in difficult moments. You can be brave every day, in small ways and big ways. As the passengers settled for the remainder of their stay on the station, Mira turned to the ship's controls. She ran final system checks, ensuring the experimental systems were stable. The technology had performed flawlessly, but it was her judgment, speed, and courage that had made the difference. She knew that humans had unique abilities that no system could replace. Commander Rahl approached her quietly. Captain Mira, the Council has decided to commend your bravery and skill. They also intend to use your experience to develop guidelines for future emergencies. Your actions have proven that humans can exceed expectations, especially when technology is used responsibly to enhance decision-making. Mira nodded. Thank you, Commander. I hope my experience will help others prepare for emergencies and show that courage. Skill and care can make the impossible possible. Lieutenant Rin, the pilot of the F-22 that had arrived earlier, joined them. Captain, your actions are inspiring. The precision, calm, and courage you demonstrated are rare. You have shown that humans are capable of extraordinary things, even in situations that seem hopeless.
Alice.
Mira smiled. Thank you, Lieutenant. Humans have the ability to adapt and act decisively when it matters most. Technology can help, but it is our choices and responsibility that make the difference. As the sun rose over the Vega system, Myra looked out at the distant stars. The events of the past day had tested her in ways she had never imagined. She had faced a storm, saved lives, revealed a secret system, and earned recognition for her courage and skill. The experience had strengthened her resolve and deepened her understanding of human potential. She reflected on the passengers she had saved. Families, children, and travelers had entrusted her with their lives. She had acted with integrity, skill, and courage. The successful landing and the Council's recognition proved that human ingenuity and moral responsibility could guide technology to achieve extraordinary results. Kiru approached once more. Captain Mira, your ship and your decisions will be studied for years. You have set a new standard for human capability in space operations. Myra nodded. That is all I hope for. The lessons learned from this experience can help others prepare for emergencies and show that humans, guided by courage and responsibility, can achieve great things. Council adjourned, and Mira spent time with her passengers, ensuring they were comfortable and ready for departure. The families expressed their gratitude again, their smiles and relief filling the cabin. Mira knew that her actions had created more than safety, they had inspired hope. General Voss approached one final time. Captain Myra, your actions have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary feats. Courage, intelligence, and moral responsibility are qualities that will guide the future of space travel. You have not only saved lives, but also inspired generations to come. Mira bowed her head slightly. Thank you, General. I am grateful for the recognition. My hope is that this example encourages others to act responsibly, bravely, and with care for those in need. As the passengers prepared to continue their journey, Mira remained on the station for final briefings and debriefings. She reflected on the lessons of the past day, that courage, skill, and human ingenuity could overcome even the most dangerous challenges. The system had assisted her, but it was her choices and actions that had saved lives. At last, Mira returned to her ship, ready to continue her journey through the stars. The experimental systems hummed quietly, ready to assist if needed, but the true strength lay in the human at the controls. Mira smiled, knowing that the future of space travel would be brighter because humans could rise to challenges, act decisively, and make a difference in the universe. The stars stretched endlessly before her, a reminder of both the dangers and possibilities of space. Myra felt a deep sense of pride and hope. She had faced the storm, revealed a